The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to go through today with the coach, 401k and IRA rollovers. We'll talk about some information that I think will be helpful and pertinent to you as you're working with your clients on their qualified funds. We'll also concentrate fairly heavily on how to communicate that expertise via seminars with the coach and talk a little bit about that throughout the morning here as well. Usually this lasts about 35 to 40 minutes if you're trying to get your clocks all set and ready to go. We're going to talk here for the first few minutes about some of the things that we do here at IAMS to help you grow your business and things that I think you'll want to be aware of. Then we'll transition over to Dave as well. So if you have any questions that come up, I would ask you to type them in and hit send. We'll get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. We'll have a couple of polls that pop up. All I ask is that you answer that, and truly, if you have interest, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Don't worry about that, but it does help us to gauge interest, see where we're, and see if we need to get in touch with you on certain things. So if you can answer those polls quickly, that's always great for everybody. And with none of the polls are you committed to anything at all. You're just saying, hey, I might have some interest in something like that. So don't be afraid to hit no. If you're not interested at all, that's okay too. Interest levels are generally relatively high. So let's go ahead and get started on some of the things that we do here at IAMS to help you grow your business. And let's start first with a couple of what I call business builders here at IAMS. One is the RPM program. It's the program right now that we send out the most money on a quarterly basis. So it's a pretty simple program. You refer somebody to us, we send you a check for $50. They start doing business and we start making an override check out to you. Actually, it's not an override check at all. It's just a bonus check. And the difference, of course, is that nothing comes out of your referee's pocket when you refer them over. That's just straight. We can't actually take it out of our advertising budget. And we'd love to pay those checks out. The guys tease me about not liking to write checks. I love to write checks. I love to write checks to our producers. I hate to write checks to advertising in magazines. I hate to write checks for email companies. I hate to write those checks. But if I could write checks all day long to you folks that do business with us, and especially those folks that think enough of what we do to refer us, I would write them all day long. So appreciate any opportunities to do business with you there. If there's if there's a further question you might have on our RPM program, certainly get with your sales director or call me. Also, our marketing reimbursement program is another way that we send out a lot of checks to our producers. It's, again, a very simple program. When you do business with us, we put money into your marketing reimbursement account. As you spend money on marketing, anything that you do to promote your business, you can then send us a receipt and we'll match your spend dollar for dollar. So it's a great way to kind of double up your marketing budget. And what we know right now is that there's not really a better time to let people know what you do. I think if you're doing that right now, letting people know that you serve the senior market and safety guarantees, security are kind of at the forefront of what you do, I think you're going to see that you're going to start getting calls and phone referrals and all types of other ways to get in front of new people. But you got to take the light out from underneath the basket right now, and marketing is a great way to do that. We can help you with some of that, whether you're doing Facebook marketing, if you need some mail pieces done, if you just like some little brochures branded for yourself so that you can mail them out, we can do that for you as well, which we'll talk about here shortly. But bottom line is, let us help you with marketing using the marketing reimbursement program. We do have a couple of folks on here with us today that are new to us. Well, welcome, by the way, to you folks. And this is for you. The new producer builders are pretty straightforward. There's 3 levels that you can claim at, and it's for the first 180 days that you're appointed with us. And you can see some of the things that you can claim and the levels that you can claim at. So at the $100,000 level, you can do, we'll pay for your website for a couple of years. We'll send you out $750 cash bonus if you want an iPad. Just about anything that you want that's in that range, we're glad to work with you on it. 300,000 point level. You can see that we could make our Social Security program and a 3,000 piece mailing available to you. If you want to put extra money in your marketing reimbursement, we can do that and put $2,000 in your marketing reimbursement account. Or if you just like cash, we can do that as well. And again, at the $500,000 level, you can get into the seminar business with any one of our coaches. You can get a personal Ritz-Carlton travel package. And again, if we need to work something out that makes sense for you for something else in that same range in terms of expense, we're glad to do that as well. Bottom line is, we'd love to have you get your first pieces of business with us relatively quickly after you get to know us. We think that if you do that, I believe our service and what we do to help you grow your business along the way will sell itself. And so that's why we do, why we encourage that new production along the way. So for those of you that are new with us, I hope that you will take advantage of that and let us help you kind of build your business. It's a little bit of a lost leader, as you might imagine, for us, but it's a great way to begin that relationship. I'm going to mention this because it's one of those things from a company standpoint. It's hard to sell service, but I will tell you that our competitors would agree that just nobody does it better than IAMS. We are really good at every stage of the back office support. We've got a great team of folks with a lot of training and experience that help you from the submission to commission process. Make sure that your business gets in clean, make sure that it gets processed quickly as possible, stay with the carriers, keep moving it through the pipeline, make sure that the commission is ready to go out for you as soon as possible. And in many ways, as our guys will tell us, it eliminates their need to have some of that normal support that they might pay for in their own office, because we do a lot of that for them. There's other things that we do that I think kind of sub in for you having somebody in your office do stuff for you, and we're going to talk about those coming up. But having the ability to have somebody working on behalf of you while you're out working to get new business is a great feeling that our guys really come to value from IAMS. So I hope you, those of you that haven't done business and haven't seen that in action, I hope you give us a shot. I mentioned we can do some marketing stuff for you that normally you might have to pay someone to do, and I do encourage that to work with an outside firm and to get them to try and help you do some of the things that you need to do to grow your business. You might as well be working with our internal creative team. They're going to do a great job for you. They're already working with folks in exactly your business, so they can give you some great feedback and assistance along the way. They have a bunch of already pre-done stuff that they can logo and personalize for you and get out so that you can, if you want to do a mailing or something, great time, by the way, to do some CD alternative advertising right now. Our rates are better, and of course there's a lot of CDs renewing. If you want our CDs versus annuity sales kit, give me a call here and I'll be glad to send that out to you. Very popular with our regular producers this time of year. In fact, that number is 800-255-5055. Just shoot me a quick call or email me at steve@iamsinc.com. and I can shoot that out to you within the hour. That's really easy, and you'll love that kit if you're at all considering, doing something to market your kind of MIGA versus CD type things. We've got some great stuff for you there. You can see the other things that we do for you. Got some great printed materials, as I mentioned. There's a lot of folks that I've talked to maybe not happy with the way that their logo looks or the way that their letterhead looks. We pretty much do that for our guys and gals free of charge. So if that's something that you would like us to look at for you, or maybe spruce up, or you got an idea on how you'd like that to look that's different, we'd be glad to do that for you and help you kind of get the process started on getting your new business cards and new letterhead all put into place. We've got really good feedback on our websites. I'm going to, honestly, in my opinion, that's $30 or $40 a month that you're going to spend just to kind of have that presence out there. I'm not talking to a lot of guys that are just ginning up a lot of business off their websites, but I know that people expect us now to have a website, so it's kind of the cost of doing business at this point. We like to keep that cost low and the process as simple as possible, so we can get you put out there with a pretty good website in really short order without a lot of trouble from you. And then if you, as we go along, you want to get it customized a little bit more and have a little bit more reflective of your business and how you work, that's easily done as well along the way. So if that's something that we can help you with, I would just look at our creative services department as kind of your ad agency on steroids, because it's, we're going to do everything we can at no cost. What we have to charge a little bit for, you can use marketing reimbursement, and there are people that already know your business and know probably 200 to 300 folks like you that each one of them has worked with on a one-on-one basis that do exactly what you do. That can help you along the way. So take advantage of that creative team. I get such great feedback from our producers that work for them, not just on what they output, but their ability to deal with them on a really a proactive and team approach type, so that they can get exactly what they want, exactly the way that they want it, with some great input along the way. Website. If you haven't looked at our website lately, I encourage you to do so. We've got a lot of great things on there. You can go in on our annuity search engine and say, okay, I'm looking for the best MIGA here in the state of South Carolina that goes to age 95, that has a commission above 2.5. You can input that, and there might not be a solution for it. It'll come up and tell you if there's not. But if there's one out there, it'll pop up and show you that and give you all the detail that you need. And you can even print some of the forms there that you need as well. So it's a very handy annuity search website. If you like to do life insurance a little bit and you want to see kind of what's out there in terms of pricing and maybe show a couple things to your client, we've got the same type of search engine for life insurance out there as well that you can take advantage of. And again, same thing. You go out, tell them what you want, it gives you the best choices, and then you can go out and print the forms that you need and even get the medical requirements and such put in place. So very nice systems out there on our website. Most of the industry or the forms that you need are out there. A lot of nice links to various things that you can use. Specifically, I wanted to mention to you, if you look at the little picture there, you see the website, and then across the top you'll see that we've got home, IAMS, products, training, and support. Look on that support and go down to the IAMS sales resource library and spend like half an hour looking around there. There's some stuff out there you just won't believe how beneficial it can be for your business. Just takes a little time to go through it. We do a whole webinar on it occasionally. In fact, I think on our YouTube site there's a kind of a tutorial to walk you through that. If you get a chance to join us for one of our webinars on it, I think you'll find that valuable as well. And there's just so much information out there, that sales resource library. If you have any questions on that, again, call your sales director or any one of our sales directors here at the office, 800-255-5055, and just say, hey, walk me through that. Love to know what's out there and how I can use it to grow my business. And again, anybody that's with IAMS has access to all that information. So I hope you'll take advantage of everything that we have out on our website. Great resource for you. I wanted to make sure that you're all aware of the retirement analyzer. So Marcus Soller here in the office is kind of the point person for that. Write that name down. If you're looking for a program or a process that you can go through with your clients to help them where they are, kind of on their retirement journey, and put it in a nice format for them, and get something printed out that shows them, hey, this is where you're at, this is where your shortfalls are, this is where you're on track, here's ways that we can help you, here's where you're maybe a little bit long or short of your risk tolerance, things like that. It's all on the Retirement Analyzer, and they put together really some great sub packages on Social Security and how that works, and how that works into the business, and why you might want to look at some different types of places for your savings. If maybe your risk tolerance is off, there's a great program for that as well. And right now we're making that available to anybody licensed with IAMS free of charge. If you all looked at that, that's about a $900 a year subscription fee if you went out to buy that on your own. We have bought a group subscription, and so we have access. We can let you have a look at it. Some guys look at it and say, boy, this is more information than I want to input and don't want to go that deep. And other people like it's a perfect fit. If it's a perfect fit and you want to keep access to it, we'll make that possible for you at our expense as well. So get out if you want to have a quick presentation and see how it works. Have Marcus walk you through it. If you want to test drive it for a month or two, Marcus will make the link available to you, and again, we'll take care of the cost on that. IAMS Wealth Management, this is going to be our first poll. So as we all know, the DOL shot up some reasons that we all maybe needed to look a little bit different at some of the things that we did and how that we are doing them. And just the fact that the DOL has gone away for the short term is not reason to think that it's going to go away forever. In fact, I think we can be pretty sure that somehow it's going to rear itself again here very soon. And in some ways, that probably is not a terrible thing. I don't like government intervention in areas that is just kind of, in some ways, a lot of overreach, obviously, like a lot of us out there. But there is some opportunity for us to be a little bit more various in the offerings that we make to our clients. And I think if you would look at the potential for becoming a registered investment advisor and what that can do to your business and how that can grow your business in other ways, I think if you haven't done that already, you will be surprised and pleased at what that can do. The difference with IAMS Wealth as compared to other wealth advisors that you might do your business through is that you will find that IAMS Wealth is really well geared to the individual that kind of comes from that insurance background, because as a company, that's where insurance agency marketing services comes from. That's our background as well. So most of the folks that we work with on the wealth side, on the wealth management side, that's their background. So what we've been able to do is build a system that is simple and communicatable and has a lot of safety at its core, which I think is a lot of what we're used to, as producers in the field. When we've been talking for years about indexed annuities and insurance products in general, we talk a lot about guarantees, and IAMS Wealth is set up to have that as a basis as well. I think you'll like the way that your sales track can work using their platforms, and I think you'll like the way that that team works in terms of helping you at every step of the way. So I've talked to a number of folks that do business with us with IAMS Wealth that came from other groups, and one thing that they have said pretty regularly is that what we have helped them with that others have not has been a lot of the paperwork that they need, and then a lot of the proposal information and help that they need. So it's one thing to join a RIA and have a lot of things available to you. It's another thing to join an IRA that has a lot of things available to you to help you with the sales and help you through, getting started in the process of, how do I begin to meet clients, and how do I position what we're doing on the wealth management side that makes sense for me and for my clients. And that's what they really do a great job with at IAMS Wealth Management. Additionally, I think that you'll find that their payouts are a little above average and their fees are a little bit below average. So I think you'll be pleased with how that could play for your business. If you're working with another RIA and you're not happy with your monthly fee payout, or maybe don't think that you're getting as much of the pie as you need to in terms of the fee that is charged to your client, I think you'll like what IAMS Wealth is doing there as well. At any rate, I think if you're considering that at all, which I believe you should, I think you're going to find that IAMS Wealth would be a great place to maybe have a quick conversation with either Mike or Charles and see what they do, how they do it, and see if that might be a fit for you. So if you're interested in it all, I just put up a poll. If you have interest in having a 15, 20-minute conversation, learn a little bit more about what they do, that would be great. Check yes. If maybe you're just considering whether 65 might make sense and you want to spend 15 or 20 minutes with them and see maybe based on what your business model is, what they can tell you about the success that we've had with other folks that are in that similar situation, go ahead and check yes on that poll. If you're not happy with your current wealth advisor, not happy with the support that you're getting, not happy with the fees that you're paying, or not happy necessarily with the payout that you're receiving, check yes on that poll. If none of those things is of interest to you, if you're comfortable with where you're at, then obviously check no on that. We don't want to bother you. As I said, having interest there has not been the problem for us at all. So if you have some interest, check yes. If not, that's fine. Check no. We're okay with that as well. And my goodness, you all are very responsive. Thank you for that, for everyone taking a minute and completing those polls. I do see that there are a couple of you out there that are just listening in and not able to respond to the polls. That's fine too. You might just make a note to yourself that if you're interested in IAMS Wealth, just give us a call here at the office, ask for Charles or Mike. They'll be glad to take a few minutes with you and walk you through that. And there's just, I see now, doesn't look like anybody that can vote has not, so I'm going to go ahead and close that poll out and we'll get moved on. Again, thank you for your quick attention to those polls. That helps everybody. So it says Academy 2018. Unfortunately, just last week we had our last Academy of the year. And so we will not have another one in November or December, but we will likely start right out of the gate fairly early in 2019, probably at a southern location. So I wanted to, I'm going to put another poll up here really quickly, and I just wanted to mention a couple of things to you in advance of of launching that poll. So we do take care of your expenses for attendance at our academies. We're going to take care of your travel and your lodging and your meals while you're there. You can see there before you some of the things we talk about in the Academy. Really the centerpiece of that is the bullet point number 1, sales ideas and strategies from 4 top producers. So we're fortunate to have some folks that are very strong and regular top producers with us that are willing to come in and share with our attendees. So you can imagine why that has become, why our annuity and life academies have become one of the most sought after events in the industry, which is great. And we love that. We talk about a lot of other things. We almost always have some carrier involved in that as well. So we'll have some product stuff from them. We'll also have some generic product stuff that's very useful and helpful for you. It's a great chance to share ideas with your fellow producers. There'll be 35, 40, sometimes 45, depending on the size of the venue that we're using, that will be there with you. And it's great to be able to share ideas among each other. I think that's probably a top 5 to 10 reason to come in. It's great. I know it can be hard out there when you're by yourself, you're independent agent, and it's good to have kind of a network of folks that you deal with. And these academies and our conventions and things like that are great ways to build those relationships. So to give you an idea, I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll now. If you have interest in learning more about the Academy, seeing an actual agenda, just hit yes on that poll, and we'll send you along an agenda. With that agenda will be a form that you can then return to us that lets us know that, hey, having looked at your agenda, I'm interested in attending one of your academies in 2019. We may have a couple more academies than we generally do. We're generally doing 4 a year. We may end up with 6 this coming year, which will be a busy agenda for us, but I think it's worthwhile based on the interest that we have. So if you have interest in joining us for any one of those in the coming year, or if you want to look more at that, hit yes on that poll. We'll send you out an email that will have attached the agenda, and we'll also have attached a registration form that you can then return if you're interested. I will tell you that the event is basically a 3-day out of your office event. We'll bring you in on a Wednesday generally, and we'll go all day Thursday. So we'll actually have some presentations that Wednesday. We'll go all day Thursday, have some presentations in the morning on Friday. Everyone that we do, everyone that comes out, we have a little post-academy survey that we do, and we always, everybody always wants to have more time or less information, because there is a lot of information crammed into a relatively short period of time, but it's all great stuff. Mostly it's sales-based and marketing-based, how to get in front of more people and how to make increase your closing ratio when you do get in front of people. We talk a little bit about products so that you know what's out there. Most of that is kind of conceptual in terms of what some of our top producers have learned about different products that have different fits that might make you a sale or two that you wouldn't have made. Some of it is just, hey, this is what's out there right now, just so that you're aware of it. So it's about 30% product, about 70% sales and marketing, and I would say of that, probably about 40% sales and 30% marketing. You'll hear from our creative team. You'll hear from producers on how they grow their business via their marketing. And then on the sales side, you get some great sales ideas. We'll talk about a couple seminars as well. In case that's something you want to do, we'll talk about Social Security claiming as a seminar. We actually do a presentation. Dave just finished his presentation on 401k and IRA rollover seminars that he did at our academy just last week, and got great reviews and great interest there. So we go over a lot of things, very, very valuable. We're going to take care of your expenses. Your time commitment is what you're going to have into that. And I can guarantee as you walk out the door, you're going to say, hey, this was a very, very valuable use of my time, which is what we're trying to do here at IAMS, is create value and create interest in the things that we do. So again, it looks like a couple of you haven't voted. In the interest of time, I'm going to move on. I know that what happens sometimes is that if you've been to an academy, and I see some of our attendees have been to recent academies, that's great. If you want to come back again, we can certainly talk about that. I do like to give new folks the chance, but I understand the value of coming back again if you want to. So if that's something you want to do, go ahead and hit yes on that poll. I will give you a call. We'll talk about it and see if it might be a fit for you here in 2019. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll up. and we are going to begin talking very quickly with Dave Pimper. I want to make sure that you're aware we got a couple things going on, kind of social conferences coming up here at IAMS. One is our top producers meeting, which is going to be down in Naples at the Ritz-Carlton right on the beach. We're going to love that. We've just announced the second one in conjunction with one of our carriers, which we pretty much have done annually with a TINE, and on that one we haven't yet finalize the location, but it'll be someplace in the southern part of the country, and we'll be doing that in May. So we got a couple trips going on. I'd love to have you join us on those. Great time to, again, share ideas with producers just like yourself that are successful in our business. Okay, so now we're going to get together with Coach Dave Pimper of Lazarus Coaching. We're going to talk about a game plan to better serve your clients on the qualified fund side, and also a game plan to get in front of more clients on the qualified fund side using seminars. So first part of our time here today is going to be spent talking about the ins and outs of qualified funds and some things that are beneficial and helpful for you when you're talking with your clients about qualified funds. Dave is going to talk about the opportunity. I go back to a conversation that we had probably 6 or 7 years ago with one of our top producers that really never messed with qualified funds at all, wasn't a part of his main business, did a lot of transactional CD type replacement with annuities type of thing. And once we got to talking about this and opened up that door for him, that has made him really a regular top producer of 4 to 5 million with us, which has been great for us and great for him. So a lot of great stuff coming up. I think it's important to have a good mentor and coach around seminars, and Dave is nothing if not that. He's done close to 500 public seminars himself. He's regularly producing, using seminars. That's where he gets most of his leads now. So it not only is he a great resource for qualified funds information, but also a great resource for seminars and how to grow your business using seminars. So Dave, are you with us this morning? Might still be muted, Dave. Well, let me do this if I can. I am going to, it's possible that Dave is having a quick technical difficulty. Let me get with him really quick here for us all this morning. And best way to do that is going to be with a quick phone call. If you could all hold on for me for just a moment. We're not above technical difficulties for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide while we're waiting for Dave to answer. Hey, Dave. Okay. Okay. We've got our webinar here this morning. Dave is indeed having just a quick technical difficulty with his audio, so he's able to watch but not able to talk. So he's going to get that fixed here. It might take just about 20 seconds or so, and then he'll be on board with us, I think. I appreciate your all's patience with us. In the meantime, we have a couple questions. So the first question is if the company that you're working with doesn't have a non-hardship in-service withdrawal opportunity, what can we do there? Of course, post 59 and a half, we can begin to do business even with those folks. But if there is no way, if they don't have a non-hardship ability to take some of the funds and move them, there's not a lot we can actually do with that, Frank. Let's go to question number 2. It's from Mark. Mark, so Dave will be starting. He'll talk about, I think it looks like you're specifically looking for information about 401k rollovers, which is actually kind of where Dave starts off. So he'll be starting with that pretty quickly. Question about location. So actually, yes, there are 2 Ritz-Carltons. I don't know how you know that, Tom, but yes, there are 2 Ritz-Carltons in Naples. We'll be staying at the one at the beach. We'll actually be going to the other one to golf, but the one that we're going to be staying at is the one on the beach. We'd love to have you all join us down there. Dates on that are late August, so it'll be nice and sunny and warm and great beach weather. At the Ritz-Carlton. That's very nice. Ritz-Carlton, as you've mentioned, Tom, you're right. That's just newly remodeled. So next question, academies. So academies, we do those. The first one next year is probably going to be in late January, early February. Normally we do those in Omaha or Des Moines, but because of the time frame, we'll probably do that one at a southern location. I'm thinking Atlanta or Dallas. So if you're wondering about location out there, that was Jonas's question is location for academies. Generally, we do them through the course of the year when the weather gets nice, sometimes in our office here in Omaha, sometimes in conjunction. You all know that there are many of our annuity type carriers are in Des Moines, so we do those in conjunction with a couple of those in Des Moines. First one, it will be likely someplace south, like I said, either Atlanta, maybe Dallas, something like that, for next year. So the agenda information will not talk about location. It's just basically, the agenda stays fairly well the same no matter what the location. So the agenda will still be great information for you. One more question here. Okay, so Dave is going to review some of the information regarding costs associated with the seminars. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sorry I got hung up there, so my apologies.
Not a problem. I appreciate you joining us. I have got you teed up with your first slide for 401k IRA rollover. I'm going to give you the keyboard and mouse here shortly if you want to give the boys just a little bit of background on you and what you've done.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, thank you. And I apologize. I was with a client, and as we all are, hopefully we're with a lot of clients throughout the day, and it was a client from a seminar, interesting enough. But my name is Dave Pimper, and I'm a producer, just like everyone who is on the line with us today. What's interesting is that I've also sales trained and coached for almost 30 years now, of the 30, starting back from 1981. And seminars have certainly been a mainstay for me, and the seminars that have been successful as of late, because that has been a kind of an evolving business, has really been specific areas like 401ks, IRA rollovers, that pre-retired and retired Social Security, 8 potential mistakes retirees make with their money. Those are all different seminars that IAMS has available through the IAMS seminar system. And what I do is I help coach you. So you're paying me to coach you. I'm not in your hierarchy. I'm not in your override system, but I'm coaching you up on seminar selling. So remember, our business is a pretty darn easy business. We have to get in front of enough qualified prospects, but we also need to go on in and be able to close X amount of prospects. Of those two things, it seems like by far that getting in front of enough people is always the tough thing to do. Getting in front of enough people is always a tough thing to do. What happens is that once you're in front of those people, most people know the process. I think there's a lot of help that some people need in their sales process, but even if you're a poor sales presenter and closer, you see enough people, you certainly will do business. So we just got done with an Annuity Academy that was in West Des Moines. We had about 25, 27 advisors that were there. And what's interesting about 401ks, IRA rollover, a lot of people work this marketplace, this pre-retired to retired marketplace. But let's go in and take a look at some questions and see how much you really do know. So let's say that you make, this is a quiz now, be honest with yourself. You make your initial Roth IRA contribution for the 2015 tax year on April 15th of the next year, 2016, which you can up until you file your taxes. How many years do you have to wait to withdraw all of the money tax-free in a Roth IRA? Most people say 5 years. There's only one day that's exactly 5 years. It's if you put the money in on January 1. But if you put in later than that, up to the 15th of April the next year, it all reverts for the 5-year rule back to the January 1 of the year you're taking the initial Roth contribution. So here it'd just be 3 years, 8.5 months is the holding period before it's all tax free. Now, do I still call it the 5-year rule? I do, but as you can tell, it's almost always going to be less than 5 years. Second one, what type of trust do you have to establish for your IRA when your intent is to make sure your designated human beneficiary within that trust are able to stretch out or inherit that on a tax deferral basis for their lifetimes? So this is on inherited IRAs. What kind of trust do you have to have? We are all different kind of ones, but it's a look-through trust or a see-through trust. It's a type of a conduit trust. What type of trust do you have to establish for your non-IRA with an annuity when your intent is to make sure the designated human beneficiaries within the trust are able to stretch out the tax deferral? On a non-IRA, it's a trick question, can't be done. And what does the designation of Per Stirpes mean pertaining to beneficiaries? There's per capita, per head, Per Stirpes, per bloodline, or per root. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of information. I was talking to a fellow yesterday, and he was talking about, hey, he's got a loss in his Roth IRA. He put in I think he had 10,000 in his Roth, and it went down to like he day traded with it in stocks. It went way down to like $3,000, and he wanted to go in and take that 7,000 as a loss. And I said, I think you could do it before, but I'm not sure whether you can do it now. And I looked it up on the government website, and 2017 is the last year you're able to take a loss within a Roth conversion. Not conversion, but within a Roth IRA. That after-tax money, that cost basis, if it goes down, and you have to sell everything out, and you have, the last year you can do it is 2017, okay? And so what happens is that in the last year you can do it. I think 2017 was the last year, so I don't think you can do it in 2018, or 2018 was last year. You can't do it in 2019. But rules are changing all the time. They're changing all the time. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to go in with this type of seminar and give the very best information that we possibly can, to our prospects and to our clients to impress them to do business with us. So there's no doubt when you're looking at that pre-retired and retired crowd, it's very, very strong to go on in and to have information like this for them. Okay? So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to go through it pretty quick. Those are the actual slides, but you'll see that I talk about potential rollover options for 401ks, 403bs, 457 deferred government plans. They're all kind of twin brothers and sisters. So first of all, you could do nothing, and I'm going to refer for 401k of all of it. You could do nothing, and then I would have another slide that talks about doing nothing. You could roll over to a new company retirement plan. Then I have a slide that talks the goods and bads of that. Take a lump sum distribution. Really, the only good thing about that is if it's net unrealized appreciation. I have different slides on that. Convert to a Roth IRA, a slide, and then roll over or transfer to a traditional IRA. That traditional IRA is where we see, of course, the most business come our way. Like tonight, I got 138,000 that's rolling on over from a traditional 401k he just retired into an IRA, and that's where we'll make our money. Okay. Now, I try to have a very balanced approach. It's educational in nature. There's no specific product that is ever mentioned. There's one general product, a QLAC, Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract, but there's never the name, and that's basically of deferring required minimum distributions later in the presentation. But you can do nothing. So will your existing 401k plan force you to take your investments out? Question. If you do nothing, your investments will stay with your existing plan. If it's over $5,000, they probably are not going to force you out. Why would you want to leave it there? Well, you know what? How much money do we make if we leave that money in the 401k? Nothing. But we're suggesting here if they've got money that they're going to go in and use from this 401k, they leave part of it there. I had one a couple of years ago where the guy said, I'm going to buy a car and I don't have the outside money. I want to pay cash on it. I've got to take money from my 401k. He was 56 years old. Well, and then I tell him the slide that if you work for XYZ company and you're 55 and older and you get terminated or you quit or you retire, but you have a disconnect of business, a termination of business, you can take money out at 55 instead of 59 and a half and later with no 10% penalty. So we kept portion in there. We kept 50, 60,000 in there to pay for the car and the sales tax on the car because you couldn't take the money out of an IRA without a 10% penalty before 59 and a half. It's the 55 rule. A lot of people haven't heard of that. We talk about ERISA creditor protection. It's stronger with retirement plans with companies than it is with an IRA in a lot of states. You might want to keep it there for just familiarity of investment choices. Maybe they offer less fees. They could offer more, but they might offer less. It might be in your decision making. Just an easier choice. There's no decision you have to make now. So we walk through positives and negatives. We're not supposed to be biased by all it has to come to us or all of it has to come to us. Here's the reason why we're selling. It doesn't have to be that way. Roll over to a new company retirement plan, and in here, I do talk about service and guidance. Also, if you really want loan provisions, your 401k probably has that. Your IRA will not. But investment choices, service and guidance are two big things. Now, am I going through this fast in the actual presentation? Of course, I'm not. But it gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. Take a lump sum distribution. So, and I tell people, what's pretty incredible is 53% of all Americans take their money out of their company retirement plan upon termination, and they pay taxes on it. How sad is that? More than half. Now, if you do that, if you have $100,000 in the plan and you take it all out in cash, you're not going to get 100. You're not going to go in and get 100,000. You're going to get 100,000 minus 20%. That's only 80,000. 20,000 is going to be go over to the IRS and pay for taxes that they don't think you may pay. So what happens is there's only really one reason to cash out or take money from a plan, and that's called net unrealized appreciation. See it right there? So that net unrealized appreciation, we actually have several slides because it's interesting, but let's say you've got $400,000 in your retirement plan, $300,000 in mutual funds, $100,000 in company stock, your company stock. You work for Exxon, it's Exxon stock. You work for Microsoft, Microsoft stock. You work for Kellogg's, Kellogg stock. that $100,000 you've been putting in for years and years and years may have a cost basis, and just hypothetically, say it's $25,000. That $25,000 is your cost basis. You move that into a personal account. You pay ordinary income tax on $25,000. The other $75,000 of appreciation can be taxed, as long as it's in a separate account, can be taxed as ordinary income tax gains. As not as ordinary income tax gains, but it's taxed as long-term capital gains, which if you're in a higher bracket and it's a lot of money, could make a big difference. The lesser taxes you paid, the more that's in your pocket. Called net unrealized appreciation. We have 5 or 6 slides like this, and they're quotes. It's public domain, so you don't have to have a copyright on this. This is by Henry Hynek, died in 1856. He says, experience is a good teacher, but the fees are high. And I say what I mean about this is with your, say, required minimum distributions. If you're 1 day late, you take them out on January 1st instead of December 31st, the last day of when you have to take them out from the year before, you're taking out $5 grand, you have a penalty of 50%. The government will charge you $5,000. Say if you're taking out 10, they'll charge you 50%, $5,000. Now you have to take the money out and then pay taxes on it. It's a horrific. So what I always tell people is this may not be something you want to try yourself. You want to get a financial advisor like myself to go in and help you. Of 50 slides on 8 possible mistakes that talk about fixed indexed annuities in general. Okay? But this one does not. This is strictly educational. But we talk about the Roth IRA and the differences of a traditional IRA. We talk about Roth conversions. And Roth conversions are taking traditional money, paying taxes on it, converting it into a tax-free or Roth. So there's Roth, the Roth conversions. The OOPS rule, this is done. There's no more Roth recharacterizations from a Roth conversion. They are all done as of the 15th of October of this year. They are completely done. So you cannot do a Roth recharacterization anymore. In the old days, we did a lot of direct rollovers where the check was made out to the actual client, him or herself. You can still do it, 60-day rollover with that money, but you can only do one of those every 365 days of all of the monies you have. So what happens is we'd much rather do an indirect rollover or the check made out to the custodian, and that's really what you should do all of your rollover IRAs now. There's indirect rollovers made out to you, direct rollovers made out to the new custodian. And you can do it, of course, with new IRAs, existing IRAs, but in a direct rollover, yeah, you continue the tax deferral. Hopefully you have more investment options, especially if it came from a 401k or the bank. There's far fewer rules with an IRA than there is with the RISA 401ks. Lots of times we can be very competitive fees. I mean, how much fees internally does a fixed index annuity have without an income rider, or a fixed annuity without an income rider? They have zero fees. There is a cap or there is a holding period, but no internal management fee. A lot of people, when they get older, when they get at retirement age, they just want to make things simpler. They have 2 or 3 brokers or representatives or insurance agents or producers working for them, and they like to consolidate all into one. A lot of people do, just to keep it simple. If you have any questions whatsoever, type them on up, and we'll certainly go through those. 7 beneficiary options. Leave blank. That means you're dying intestate. Who controls where your money goes then? Well, if you die intestate, well, that's actually not having a will. So leaving a bank is not the same as dying intestate, but you certainly want a will also. I had a lady yesterday that just never had a will, and she's got home equity. She's got cars and possessions. But here, your 7 beneficiaries options, you can leave blank, can name an estate or will, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, charity, or trust. There's lots of different things, but I'll tell you what, don't just gloss over this. Take time of finding the best beneficiary, the correct beneficiary for your client to have. It's very, very important. Henny Youngman says, I've got all the money I'll ever need if I die by 4 o'clock. Don't let that happen to you. Don't forget to designate beneficiaries to stretch or to inherited. So inherited IRAs, it's just that the second generation has to be a heartbeat, has to be a human being. They take over off of their life expectancy from the mom and dad who had the much shorter life expectancy, meaning with RMDs, required minimum distributions, you don't have to take out nearly as much if you stretch or inherit that IRA. And there's a very specific way to title it. So John Doe Sr. IRA when they were deceased for the benefit of his son. And you need to designate that beneficiary by September the 30th of the year after death. Okay? Yeah. So what happens is that there's very specific guidelines of how to inherit. There's specific guidelines of how it's titled. And we walk through that in the workshop itself. Remember I talked about per capita, per head, and per Stirpes, per bloodline? Yeah. We talk about it here in depth. The very last bullet point is transfer on death. That's really beneficiaries for a non qualified or non-IRA account, like a bank account or a brokerage account, personal. Yeah, transfer. It happens a lot where you always used to see one of the children would be on the mother in case she died and go directly. Now you can just do a transfer on death, and you do it just like a beneficiary form. And we do it with almost all accounts that we have. It's a very easy estate planning technique that the client really appreciates that you do for them. I talk about RMDs. Talk about when you need to start taking your first RMD at 70 and a half. So you'll see that at the end of the year before's value, or actually you can go to January 1 of the next year. Most people don't go the next year because now they have two taxable withdrawals in the same year, but it is an option for you. Also qualified longevity annuity contracts, QLACs, we talk about those. Arthur Godfrey says, I'm proud of paying taxes in the U.S. The only thing I could be just as proud for half the money. I'm a believer of paying your fair share of taxes, but not more than your fair share. Most people overpay in taxes because they don't know the specifics and the types of financial strategies that help you reduce taxation. Now, time out, I wouldn't say this in the workshop, but just like an annuity, a fixed indexed or fixed annuity, all of that interest is deferred, just like an IRA, until you take it out. It's a way to go in and not pay as much taxes in the current year. If you're not talking about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, you should be. That's called the 59.5 rule. Many companies, used to be just the bigger ones, now a lot of smaller ones have it too. At 59.5, you're able to take out a portion or all of your money without there being a penalty or a sever in service from that company. You're working for XYZ company, you're 59.5, 400,000, you take 100,000 to put it into a guarantee, you leave 300,000 there. You could take it all, but let's say we take a portion, which we normally do is take partials. Then what happens is that they can continue to work there, continue to add to the plan. There's much more portability and flexibility with your retirement money that's at the company. Yeah, pretty cool. And it's opening up that 401k for you're able to help the client in their financial best interest, but you can also go in and get compensated for that hard work. It's pretty much of a win-win situation. 5 rules to know with in-service withdrawal plans. And if you don't know Social Security, you really should. Only about 15% to 20% of all advisors really understand Social Security. But my gosh, 94% of the people have at least 40 quarterly credits that will enable them to get a Social Security benefit. I teach Social Security. I coach Social Security in seminar marketing with Social Securities. In fact, I just got 5 appointments off of my last appointment, which was last Wednesday, and I've got the other half of that from that mailing coming up tomorrow. We had 19 people came the first one. We got 26 people coming this one. I have one on the 30th of October here in my little town of Fremont. That's been out for 3 days, and we already have 17 people signed up. I actually did a one-nighter there because I'm only in a town of 26,000. I'm just mailing just really to my town and the close proximity. But I figure I'll get another 5 or 6 appointments tomorrow in my workshop. That'll give me 10 or 11. I'll get 5 or 6 here locally. That gives me 15 or 16 from the other workshop. That's 15 injected appointments for me to talk to people about their Social Security. Now, this is a 401k IRA rollover workshop, and it's a dinner workshop, but I incorporate Social Security with it. So if you don't know Social Security, you should really take this slide out and this information. But this is about how maybe you need to take from your retirement monies and your investment monies and let your Social Security grow. You would have heard me saying that 10 years ago, but since the last 8 or 9 years, I've really understand and got trained on Social Security. It's been such a benefit for my clients and prospects and myself to have that knowledge. If you don't know Social Security, when we're done here, you should mark yes on the consultation, phone consultation, and let us talk a little bit of maybe getting you up and running, getting in front of more people, the seminar marketing, and then showing with, kind of for the pre-retirement and the retirement, because that's really where the money is. I mean, when you're working with someone in the 30s and 40s, their kids are at home or they're going to school or they're just getting their business up and going. This is a great age, and the biggest asset that people have normally, it's not their home. The biggest equity is in their 401k or their company retirement plan. But how you complement your IRA or your 401k withdrawals with Social Security. Remember, if you let Social Security run past your full retirement age, say from 66 to 67, it grows 8% plus cost of living. This year it's 2%, next year it's 2.8. That's almost 11% a year. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You can't get that outside. Okay, so there's lots to think about. The majority of retirees, they don't know all about the rules. And this is an actual slide. There's decisions that need to be made how you can maximize that retirement money. And then I talk about a no-cost consultation. I said if you mark yes, excuse me, there's a date and there's a time that you can mark on this. So we get the commitment right there at the workshop itself. And then we go in and we talk about promises. So leave your checkbook at home, and then I go through some different bullet points. Like I'll say, do you know, excuse me, do you know what your best rollover options are for your company retirement plan? If you don't, you might want to mark yes. Have you looked at a Roth conversion, saw how much money you'll pay in taxes, what the benefit of the tax-free versus the taxable is down the road? If not, you might want to mark yes. So I go through several of those, and about a second opinion, sometimes the best opinion. And then kind of a fun slide for the last slide. This is my very last slide. I always say, hey, everybody knows who Big George Foreman is. He was the heavyweight champ, then he got knocked out of that, then he came back and won, then got knocked out of it, came back and won again. Made a lot of money, a lot of money with boxing, heavyweight boxing. But that isn't where he made the majority of his money. And I'll say, well, do you know where he made the most of his money? And people will say, from the George Foreman grill. And I'll say, you know what, that's exactly right. And I'll say, unless you've got your name on a grill, you probably need to come in me and talk about your retirement planning. And then people will laugh and they'll clap, and you hope you get 5-6 appointments from those, anywhere from 18, 19 to 25, 26 people in the room. So when you go in and you're looking at seminar marketing, not many people have done. I've actually had 400 public seminars since the mid-'80s. I'm in production right now. Had 3 appointments yesterday. I got 2 appointments today. I like to have 2 to 4 appointments a day. It's a busy practice. I enjoy what I do, but I like marketing, and the majority of my leads and prospects have come in from seminar marketing. Is it for everyone? No, of course not. But if you're committed to seminar marketing and have somebody walk you through, IAMS pays for my coaching. I'm not in your hierarchy or your override system. I get paid $750 for 5 coaching sessions. That's $150 each. IAMS pays, the FMO pays for $555. It leaves you $195. And it's a turnkey system. So once you coach with me, there's no doubt that you will go in and have my full attention whenever you call me to help you with any questions down the road. Steve is going to bring up a slide that talks about if you'd like to get a 25-minute consultation with me on the phone. But I'll talk about procrastination a little bit. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. You know what? Tomorrow never comes, does it? Don't let that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you. If you heard something here that you thought, hey, I want to talk to Dave Pimper about, I might want to look at seminar marketing, and even if you've had some troubles in the past, normally most FMOs, most marketing firms, they have a good seminar system, even a blueprint of what to do, but someone to handhold you in an office to go in and to be a backer of you, of all the languages on there, what to do, all the letters, everything to mail, and then we can help you through with myself, Lynn, and Amy, who are my two administrators. We're good at what we do. We've done this with IAMS, we've done this for well over 10 years, maybe going on 11, 12 years. We'd love to hear from you to see if we could increase the number of people that you have appointments with and increase that production every day.
Great job as always, Dave. I did throw that poll up there, so a couple things I would say about that is, of course, if any of you have been with me with Dave on the webinars, you know I'm a big proponent of Dave's. He does a great job on the coaching. I'm also a big proponent of coaching in general. If you're going to do seminars, I've seen too many folks that have got into it and then had a setback or two that was really didn't need to happen, and so fell out of doing seminars. And I still will tell you that our top guys are all using seminars in some form, and so it's a great way to meet new prospects. And as I mentioned at the outset, this is a great time to do it. There's no doubt that there's more people looking for safety and guarantees today than there were yesterday, and that's going to be true tomorrow and the next day as well. So the marketplace is ripe. The opportunity is there. We have what I think is the best sales coaching and seminar coaching individual in the industry available to you, and we're going to take care of most of the cost for that. So seminars is not an inexpensive way to do business, but the return on investment is very high if done correctly, and we can help make sure that it's done correctly for you. So if that is of interest, I hope you will take a minute and hit yes on that poll. I see that many of you are already voting. I appreciate that very much. And while that's going on, Dave, I'm sure there are a couple of questions that have come up. Let me just pull those up here really quick. When you were coming on, there was someone asking a little bit about expenses and how that works for seminar coaching. Do you want to just give us a rundown of costs and return on investment?
Sure. This is a dinner seminar, so you do have the cost of dinner. So if you have 40 people come between two nights, 20 and 20, 40 people, and the dinner, I normally do a lunch menu, even though it's a dinner, and I like to get the whole thing done for around $20. Now, if you're in LA or you're in West Palm Beach, Florida, Dallas, Texas, maybe you can't do it for 20. Maybe it costs you 25 or $6. But I figure that the dinner is going to cost $800 to $1,000. So that's a cost of kind of getting. It's kind of an entertainment event to getting them there. Then you've got 6,000 mailers that are mailed out at 55 cents a piece. So that's $3,000. Excuse me, that's $3,300 at 55. $3,300. So 33 and 8 is about 4,100. That's your cost. I mean, you got about $4,000, maybe just $100. There's $100 for the 800 number. So you might have 4,200, 4,300. So it's not for the faint at heart. You know, you can buy I always used to say you can buy a used car for that. For every seminar you put on, you can't buy a great used car, but you can buy a used car. And what happens is, what we want to do is, we know if you have a fixed index annuity and say it's at 6%, you know, you got to go on in and you got to do about a $70,000 piece of business. See, what is the average fixed indexed annuity trade these days that's running through the IAMS platform?
Well, non-qualified, they run about in the high 70s, and qualified, they run in the low 100s, 105, 110 average, somewhere in there.
It's almost always bigger, though, with qualified, because that's where that bigger money comes from, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So what you need is, if you do, and most of this, because it's 401k, IRA, you know, you're looking at the rollover qualified money. So let's say it's 100,000. Let's say it's 6% could be 6,000. A lot of products are at 7%. which is $7,000. So what happens is that you basically are paying for itself with one trade and putting money in your pocket. And what we would like to do, our goal is to have we can do $250,000 worth of kind of assets under management, whether it's fixed index annuity or some other kind of financial product. That's what our goal is. And have we done much more than that before? Of course we have. Have we done less? Of course we have. But it's the consistency of doing seminars. And once you've got kind of a track like this, someone's working with you to not get way off base. I always say, when you're on the road, it's okay if you hit the rumble strips. It's even okay if you go into the shoulder. It's okay. But if you get down in the ditch, you wreck down there and bad stuff happens, we keep you out of the ditch. We want to keep you on the road, kind of on the straight and narrow, keep the path going. We know kind of what works. I tell you, after you do almost 500 workshops in the last 30-plus years, it's not a perfect system, but it's a system of success that we found, and we've had some real good producers through the IAMS. I work solely with the IAMS producers. And as you know, Steve, we've had some real good success with our seminar systems. Absolutely,
we have. It's really been kind of a backbone for our business here for quite a number of years. So, and as I mentioned to the guys early on, when I look at our top producers, I would say among our top 20, almost all of them do seminars in some format. Now, whether it's client appreciation or Social Security or some other things. So, there's just no denying that it's a great way to get in front of a large number of prospects in a very favorable and credible manner. So it just can't be beat. Now, I know from experience for sure, and I've seen enough folks start and stop at it, that one key is consistency, and another key to build that consistency, you need to have some success from the outgo, and that's not easy to do. It's like to carry your metaphor just a little bit farther. If somebody said, "Here's a car," get 30 miles down the road, you're gonna have trouble doing that. But if somebody hops in that car with you and kind of walks you through it and gives you that's going to get you in much better shape. And so if you're thinking about seminars, I just don't recommend at all that you just find a seminar and try and do it. There's too many pitfalls, too many potholes that you're going to run into, and one of them is going to derail you. It's going to shut down your efficiency and not make you as productive as you could have been. And I think coaching, we just don't offer seminars anymore without that one-on-one coaching alongside with it. There's just too many bad things have happened. So the last 15 years, that's what we've done. We've had good success. Dave, as I mentioned, is between someone that's producing and still doing it every day, and with the experience of 500 seminars since 1980, 2 or 3 under his belt, there just isn't a better resource out there for you. And we're pleased and proud really to have that association and somebody with Dave's experience and success behind him. So if that's something you consider, and I would check yes on that poll. If not, seminars is not for everybody, and certainly we understand that wholeheartedly. But if it is potential and you want to talk about it for a few minutes with Dave, hit yes. If not, or if you're good with what you're doing right now, hit no. And as always, we're here at IAMS just to present you with the opportunities and give you choices of things that you can use to grow your business, and try and do that in an efficient manner for you. And so if we can help you with seminars, we can help you with mailings, or whatever we can help you with to get you where you want to be, I hope you'll let us know. Dave, I'm going to close this poll out. And I appreciate everybody staying with us through a little bit of a start and stop there early on. We appreciate it very much. We have I answered some of the questions, Dave, before you got on about that had popped up, and we hadn't had any new ones, so you must have been very thorough in your presentation. So I appreciate that a great deal. Thank you all for joining us. Dave, is there anything you want to say as we close out?
No. Sorry that I was on the line a little late. I got hung up on an appointment, but I appreciate everybody hanging in with me, and hopefully we can talk to a lot of you and give you some insights on seminar marketing.
Thank you, Dave. I guess the key that we'll leave you with is don't procrastinate. Have a great day, everybody.
Exactly right.
Yep. Thank you all for your business, and thank you for looking to IAMS for a way to support and grow your business every day. Have a great afternoon.
Everyone have a good one. Bye-bye.